Ladies and gentlemen, Roster Watch Nation, welcome back to the epic Roster Watch podcast brought to you by RosterWatch.com. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier and Can't Miss Mitch on the first episode of a new show, the Circa Millions Cast, here for 2024 Week 1 NFL sports betting stuff. So here's the thing. This is going to be a new kind of format of show here. You guys, if you listen to the SiriusXM show, you know Can't Miss Mitch. He comes on with his picks from the algo, which is a maniacal little bit. Mitch, it's kind of like your little baby. It's just this little baby that he's kind of seen to turn into an absolute monster. The algo, the picks are available at rosterwatch.com for premium subscribers who are into just a little bit more than fantasy and you want to dabble in the sports betting and stuff like that in states where it's legal. We do have that available to you along with different, premium widgets that we have where you can look at getting the best lines on various props across the sports books available to you, and also where you can see the betting percentages versus the money percentages and stuff like that. Those are tools I'll be referencing here throughout the course of the show as we talk about these. But here's the point of the show. Me, Mitch, and Cody are all in together on an entry into the Circa Millions contest. And whether it goes horribly south or whether it goes really well, and we walk away with $10 million, we're going to be here every single week talking about our picks. You can fade them. You can go with them. You can do what you want to do, but we're going to go over our reasoning for making these picks. And the Circa Millions contest, it's a pretty simple contest. The Circa Millions sets the lines on Wednesday, and this show is different tonight. It'll usually be Wednesday nights at the same time. But whenever you get the lines, those lines can't change for the rest of the week. They just stay right there. You have a proxy service there in Las Vegas. Go and turn them in at Circa for you on Saturdays. And you can only pick 5 games. So of the whole slate of games, you pick the 5 that you like best against the spread. And then at the end, the team or the bettor who has the best record over the course of the season wins all the cash. So that's what we're doing here for the Circa Millions. I guess this is the 6th one, and it's going to be a fun deal. It's going to be a fun podcast. Boys, happy to be here. We don't know how the exact format's going to go. I think we were talking like maybe we'll just talk about each 2 games that we think really should be candidates for our card this week. And we'll also talk about, now that Mitch has the algo completely run, which will be up on the site soon. We were just talking about it. I need to link that on the site because it's up now. That'll be available to you at Roster Watch if you're a premium sub at some point here on Tuesday night. We're going to see what the algo thinks too. Because here's the thing: is Mitch. Sometimes I think the algo can be an idiot. it can be really smart. Sometimes I'm like, dude, you stupid computer. How can you not understand this stuff? Tell people about the algo, how you developed it. Just to give them some context about this sort of fourth maniacal member of this panel here.
It's just to cut through the noise, and really the ultimate angle here is to find the value in NFL spreads. So we're not playing the teams. We're not playing anything about the teams. We're playing the number. We're playing the market. And that's what this is designed to do. It's really designed to just say, hey, how can we take advantage of how the market is giving us this spread? And that's really what this is all about. So everyone has betting on sports and picking the side right. No, it's just finding the right number. That's really what this is all about. Any professional handicapper, when they see a line that they jump on, they'll move that line. They may go the other way as it gets closer to game time and get a risk-free middle. So look, I'm not going to use a whole lot of math terms, but this is a linear regression model. And what that means is we try and find highly correlated data that result in points scored to points given up, right? And so actually we just redid the model and added a couple of other factors. So I've got an X red zone efficiency, which kind of takes the Gulliver off and puts the Gulliver on some of the other teams. So I'll have an interesting experiment this year to figure out, do we remove red zone efficiency from the current model? Because sometimes when you put too many statistics, it starts to mess up a little bit. So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean it's fine, but just tell the the algo over the course of the last few seasons has been good. The people who've subscribed to it have made money. They've been profitable. I don't know the exact numbers off the top. Do you know what the numbers have been?
Yeah. So overall, for every game last year was 53%. I think the year before for every game was 55%, I think, but no one's betting every game. What do we care about? One, we care about the primetime games because we're going to watch every single one of those. Last year, primetime, 61%. So I don't know. It feels like Aaron Rodgers on a Monday Night Football game. I think he's got fantastic Monday Night Football statistics. So does the algo. But really what we care about is the top 5 by value. And when we combine the primetime games with the top 5 by value, which is the biggest Las Vegas spread relative to what the algo has, and that is what identifies the value, that was a 59% number. So if you're following that, you're in the green substantially.
And sometimes those bets feel so bad to me.
A lot of times.
And so, all right. So here's the thing. Let's just each throw out our two that as we look at this, we will have the benefit of having the circle lines out every week after this. But today we don't, because Mitch, as you can tell by his hat, his hat says mañana, because mañana means tomorrow, and tomorrow he's heading down to Mexico. So he's the very good hat to wear today, but it'll be Wednesday nights moving forward. And if one of us can't make the show, then the other two will go on. But we'll certainly have our text chain and be talking about these games throughout the week. Guys, my first one that I want to throw out here as a possible candidate. And there's a bunch of stuff I think is weird. I think it's weird that Cleveland is favored over Dallas for one. And like, we can talk about that. That's not one of, if we're saying it has to be two. What
are your best two?
The two that I want the most. Okay. I want Miami -3 versus at home versus Jacksonville. I think that I think they could blow. I think they could blow them out by like 17. If we look at what's happening here, it looks like we have some kind of sharp kind of angles here as far as the betting trends on our premium widgets here. It looks like 59% of the tickets so far across these sports books are on the Jacksonville Jaguars +3, but only 33% of the money. So we have 41% of bettors and 67% of money on the Miami Dolphins here. We have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill fully back at practice. We have the running back room looking like they're back to full health. We have a Miami team who I learned last year in this contest that betting on Miami early in the season at home, whenever the other team is in the sun and they're not facing a team like Baltimore or one of these teams with really physical fronts. This is the kind of game that Miami smashes in. I think 3 points is nowhere near enough. I'm not near as high on Jacksonville as some other people are this season. I think 3 points is. I've figured that this thing was going to be Miami minus. I didn't think it would be like 7, but I thought it'd be like 6.5. I don't know what the algo says about it, but that's my number one. My number two has to do with some intel. And here's the other. I really have three. And the third I'm leaving off is San Francisco. I don't think Mitch is going to like that because he mentioned Aaron Rodgers in primetime and all the rest. But I like San Francisco. But the other one I just think is just like, and I'm going against. It feels like I'm going against what's consensus here, but I like the Chargers in the first game of the new regime, going against the Las Vegas Raiders team that Byron has said whenever he went there. We go to so many training camps. Everybody knows about the RosterWatch training camp tour. Mitch has been on the road doing it. Cody's been on the road doing it. We go to a lot of training camps. Byron said that looks like one of the just worst overall sort of setups that he's seen. We know the great Michael Lombardi always talks about when you're betting early in the season, bet on teams that have tough training camps, teams that have like the Harbaugh style training camps. These types of teams are the types of teams that come out. They don't miss tackles to start. They keep a good pad level to start. They play well to start. And I just can't see the start of this regime starting out with any kind of close game or loss to this Raiders bunch. I just have trouble seeing it. And then we flip over the cards on Sunday, and Las Vegas runs them by 17 points, of course. But like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make, like, how can this not be more than like a touchdown favorite? Well, so those are my two. Very strong conviction in those two. But I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. Like, is that too chalky? I've always been sort of a chalky player, and sometimes that really gets me on the wrong side of stuff. And, certainly not in DFS cash games. I've done very well in those, but in tournaments, I've always struggled because I want to play the best plays. I want to make the best bets. I want to do the things that make sense to me. Those two, like, everything I laid out just makes perfect sense to me. But I'd be interested to hear what you guys think, and more importantly, what the algo thinks.
Well, let me jump in, Alex, because you said specifically this Miami Jacksonville game, it feels like it should be a 6-point game. The algo has this as a 5-point game, and so you were right on the button. I wasn't so sure about this game. I was in that camp and had a lean Jacksonville where potentially they could win this football game, but you just sold me. The question is, did Miami get better or worse in the offseason?
Oh, well, I mean, they got I'll be here from Cody. I mean, I feel like they got better in a lot of spots and got some key guys back healthy.
And they were the third most high scoring football team last year. They averaged just under 28 points per game. So I like this Miami pick a lot. The algo backs it. To me, I want to put the Dolphins in this. I think you brought up too many good points, and I really don't have a lot to shoot down here.
Cody?
I'm a little hesitant on Miami. I get it 100%, everything you've said, everything you've brought up about Miami. The sun factor, I think, is a 0 because you're talking about Jacksonville, who has, I mean, I was at the Jacksonville practice. It was 110 degrees on that turf. Like, they've practiced in this heat all camp. So I don't think that's going to be, I think it's one of the rare situations where that sun isn't going to have the factor it might for a New England team or, a Green Bay, for example, going down to Miami.
Smashes early in the season. It's like they're going to smash.
True. Again, I'm going through the thoughts. One is the heat. I don't think the heat's going to be a factor. 2 is injuries. Injuries is where I'm most worried with Miami right now. Hill's going to play, Waddle's going to play, but they've been banged up. They've had hand injuries. They've had other injuries across the board. On the defensive line, Bradley Chubb's not. He's on the PUP right now. Jalen Phillips is coming off an Achilles. He didn't practice a ton. They added. They still have Jalen Ramsey on the back end, who's now continuing to age. Javon Holland's been banged up. Jordan Poyer's been banged up. They're going to be starting rookie Chop Robinson, who we love. Calais Campbell's 37 right now. I don't know if I don't know if they're going to have the advantage in the trenches that it may seem like on paper because of how injured they are, how banged up they are. And Jacksonville is not a world beater by any means on the offense and defensive line, but they're healthy completely, and they have the talent, and ETN's great. Brian Thomas is a different factor in this game where nobody's seen Brian Thomas in the NFL yet. And I'm not sure Miami has anybody that can match up with him. Like I said, Ramsey at this stage of the game is a mid 4.5, high 4.5 guy. Kendall Fuller has gotten burnt a lot last year. They really don't have anybody that can stay with Brian Thomas downfield. So it feels like a little bit of a neutralizer there. The number 3.5, I like it to favor Miami. What'd you say the number was in the algo? 5.5? Again,
it can at least be in consideration for the
100%.
100%. Let's put it on as an outlier. But I like your takes, Cody.
Okay, well, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about
the trenches?
What about the Chargers?
I originally thought about the Chargers, and then I thought about Harbaugh, and coming in, establishing a new regime just from a qualitative perspective. And then I watched that sign stealing thing going on. Have you guys seen that on Netflix?
The old Connor Stallions thing.
Totally.
No, I don't care about this.
Well, I mean, you should. I mean, especially being a horn guy, and you guys have a big game this weekend, I would definitely watch it. It was just an interesting angle, but I don't know. Maybe there's just some noise there. I don't know if Harbaugh is going to be able to go in and establish, what he's going to be at the NFL level with this team. And I don't know. This team doesn't feel better than they did last year. The Raiders,
dude, they added Joe Alt. They fixed their one big problem with the swinging gate tackle over there on the right side. Like I think.
You think that was their one big problem?
Well, no. I think they need to get better against the run and all this. But here's it's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders. Like this is going to be a rock throwing competition, isn't it?
He is not losing to the Raiders in his first game as the head coach of the Chargers.
I don't like. I mean, you may not want to.
All right. Okay.
I think this is too many points. And to me, this feels like a push game. I liked your San Francisco take better. And when you talked about laying chalk, that to me felt a whole lot nicer. Plus I want some action on Monday night too. So when I look at that line, that to me just screams San Fran. I want to lay that all day. That's a number one pick. That's definitely in the Circa 5. I don't care what anyone says.
So you guys are into that. That's fine. I mean, I'm glad that you're into that. It's all right. So Cody, do you like San Fran?
I like San Fran.
Okay. So good. So that's in.
I think it's a good game, but I like San Fran.
Yep. Okay. Cody, what are your two? Gosh, man, we can't get those two. That hurts. We can at least get in Miami, please. All right, Cody. What are your two?
Funny thing is, I actually wrote Jacksonville down in like my list of 5, but it's fine. I like Miami. It's no problem. A couple of them that I came up. I like Tennessee at Chicago. I think there's a lot of helium around Chicago right now. 4.5-point favorite at home. I know Tennessee's dealing with injuries, but that offensive line has built back. I like what Brian Callahan brings to that offense. I think Will Levis is a guy that, me personally, I've always been a big fan of him, but I do think he's continually being overlooked. And this is Caleb Williams' first career start in the NFL. And I know Caleb is a super special talent. The receiver room is great, but they've been trying to add on the defensive line. They traded for Darrell Taylor from Seattle just a couple of weeks ago because they failed to draft an edge rusher of consequence. They drafted Austin Booker in the middle rounds from Kansas, but he's not ready to perform on day one. Montez Sweat's been banged up. You look at the offensive line, the one thing we got back from Trashman when he went to Bears camp was that the right side of that offensive line was kind of a sieve. And when you look at Tennessee, what do they have? They got Jeffrey Simmons. They got Devondre Sweat. They got a healthy Harold Landry. They spent a bunch on the back end. I really think Tennessee's going to have an improved defense. Not going to say they're going to be a 10-win team or anything, but I think it's going to be a vastly improved defense. And I kind of like Tennessee all right in this game.
If we do think that Tennessee is going to be a team that under Callahan goes to a team that is one of the more, pass heavy, one of the top, 5 to 7 pass attempts in the league, I worry about them going to this first game in Chicago and dude, going up against Jalen is like that guy blocks out the sun, man, and they're already down a wide receiver. I just, I worry if you can neutralize Ridley, where the explosive plays come from.
Boyd, Pollard, Spears.
But then on the other side, you got DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and DeAndre Swift and stuff.
They got L'Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie. Like those are top. L'Jarius Sneed's a top 10, top 12 cornerback right now in football. Chidobe Awuzie has been consistently about top 40, top 50. He's not bad. He can get beat for sure, but he'll be a good matchup to put out there on Keenan.
Does the algo have a strong lean on this game, Mitch? Or
it really does. And I actually shared a lot of sentiment, Cody, that you just mentioned. Far more qualitative and just more observationally as teams. And I just felt, hey, yeah, rookie quarterback kind of along that narrative. There's no way that he's going to go in and just win a football game by more than 3 points, let alone win a game. So when you said Tennessee outright, I'm in a survivor pool, and I was thinking about taking Tennessee. Like, hey, is this the one game that I would take Tennessee? And then I looked at the data. And it completely went against everything I said. Now, keep in mind, guys, this data, we're using stale data. Right?
It gets a lot better, man. Through the algo gets the algo sometimes can be hot to start, but it does get.
So yeah, let's just put a Gulliver on a lot of what the data is spitting out, because it's old data, right? And so we try and make the adjustments and whatnot, but. And we will, based on, key personnel and talent. And I look at this with stale data, and it's got Chicago by 1 billion, and you added a bunch of weapons, and they're substantially better. So I would say Tennessee, if there was a hard no, that would probably be the hard no of going into the 5.
Yeah. All right. What's the other one, Cody?
The other two I had in thoughts was Seattle at home against Denver at 5.5, and Washington against Tampa. I kind of like Tampa at home. I think it'll be tough for Washington to go on the road and cover against a Tampa team that, this is a good Tampa team. They're great in the trenches, where I don't believe Washington is. Washington is going to be playing Clelin Ferrell on the edge, Jamin Davis, who's a linebacker pushed down to edge. They've traded away a lot of their pieces on the defensive line. Not really great on the back end. I think Tampa's, I like Tampa 3.5 here at home. I think more than that Seattle one that I mentioned before.
The matchup tool, I was just noticing today, Cody, that if you look at Tampa Bay's matchups on the RosterWatch matchup tool, it's for fantasy, but this can tell us stuff for how the offense might interact, right? The number 1 matchup for opposing quarterbacks, number 4 matchup for opposing running backs, number 1 matchup for opposing wide receivers, number 6 matchup for opposing tight ends. Those are all, the matchup tool is telling, and the matchup tool will change as it gets more data too, but the data that is put into it is that personnel data is reflective of the new personnel that are on each one of these teams. We go through and we do that. It's a meticulous, horrible process that we go through in doing it. I'd be interested to see where the public is on that game though. Is that a noon game Central? I'm trying to see here. When is that?
It's at 4:25 Eastern.
Yeah, it's a late game.
Okay, so I'm clicking here. Okay, so 62% of the bets are on Washington,
right?
And 78% of the money. So people are all over Washington here.
I love Tampa. I love Tampa here. They were my.
I don't mind Tampa at all.
I like Tampa. I like the data that we're seeing from the algo, and I'm definitely on board with Tampa. So that's my survivor play. So not only do I think they win, but I like the cover as well.
Yeah.
All right, Mitch, you got 2.
All right, Thursday night. I want to go after Baltimore. Number 1, let me just tell you, I've got a futures parlay that we put in back in March. We took the South Carolina women's basketball team to win the whole thing.
Wait, we can't get this thing in on. We're not going to do this on Thursday, though, are we? We got to wait till Saturday to get this thing in.
Do
we?
Do we? What's going to change?
Oh man, I hate putting these things in early, man.
What's going to change?
Okay, well, let's hear about let's tell them about your.
So I have Man City, Boston Celtics to win the NBA championship, and we've just got the Ravens to come through as Super Bowl champions. I love this Ravens team. Did they get better in the offseason? Hell yeah, they did. I actually just doubled up. I took the Phillies World Series future and I doubled that up with the Ravens. So that was a $200 ticket, by the way, that pays 15 grand on a World Series winner and the Ravens. Again, I think this is a Super Bowl year for the Ravens. And when you think about their defense, this was the best defense in points per game allowed. Granted, you had Kansas City right behind them. They were neck and neck in yards allowed. So That was also something that I thought was interesting. These defenses are very good, but I think Baltimore getting 3 points, a little bit of a revenge game here on the road. This to me feels like a Baltimore outright game. The algo confirms that. So to me, I love this pick. This is one of the highest value rated plays that the algo spits out week 1. Granted, it's early, so I'm okay if we say, hey, we want to wait, but what are we really like figuring out? There's no injuries. These lines aren't moving. This line has been 3 points the whole way through. I think the public is going to be on Kansas City. It makes me like them more. Worse comes to worse on this. I think that there's a push if they lose.
Let me see if the public is on them. So that's the first game that's on. Let's go to the tool here. So no, man, the public's on Baltimore. They're on Baltimore. We're showing 72% of tickets and only 54% of money. To me, like if I were having to bet this one, I just think, Mahomes is gonna have Rashee Rice, and he's gonna have Xavier Worthy, and these guys I don't know, man. To me, it feels like he's got really upgraded weapons. I know that Marquise Brown is out. Andy Reid, man, coming out of Andy Reid I know that the thing is Andy Reid with 2 weeks to prepare is the thing, but it's like you kind of have 2 weeks to prepare for this, right? Even though this isn't part of the sample, like in season 2 weeks to prepare, you have had that extended time for Andy Reid to prepare. I like there are two, it's at Arrowhead. These always go under. So maybe that does lend credence to your thing that maybe if they do win, it's not going to be by a ton.
It's going to be a 23-20 game. That's kind of what I say.
Well, I mean, if we make that bet, hopefully it's a 23-20 game Baltimore. I'm just telling you that I don't love it. I mean, you guys can, if the algo says it's the best and y'all want to, Cody, what do you say?
It makes my nuts hurt. I'll tell you that. Betting against Patty Mac. It doesn't feel good, but we also saw Detroit pull it out last year. There was no Chris Jones in that one. I think he's a little banged up right now, though. I like what Baltimore has. It's just like the idea of going into Arrowhead. That's where I have a lot of reserve, is just going into Arrowhead. If it wasn't that opening night game, like maybe if it was that Friday game and it was in Brazil or something, I'm probably more in line with it. But I think of the idea of opening night in Arrowhead.
Are you a little bit like we can put it like let's just put it in the maybe pile for now? Like
put it in the maybe pile, and then we'll come back to it. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
The other game I was looking at, and you guys know I went to the Patriots training camp, and I said, the technical term when evaluating, I think they stink. But here's the deal. This is the NFL. This is a wildly overinflated line.
We can't do this. No, he's a Patriots homer, and he's going to try and get it.
I'm not a homer, Alex. I want this team to go 0-17.
Okay.
And when you look at the numbers statistically, when you look at the defensive numbers, and even that Judon is now as an Atlanta Falcon, this defense is still great because Gonzalez is still there. I like the defensive backs, but more importantly, the yards gained, again, a correlating factor into predictor of points allowed. This New England D was ranked 6th, right behind Kansas City, right behind Baltimore. Can this team be any worse than they were last year on offense? They were tied 31st with Carolina, 13.9 points a game. This is way too many points. This is the all-time sucker bet.
We're talking about Joe Burrow. We're talking about Joe Burrow.
Hold on. But Joe Burrow, look at how he started every other season. Even the Super Bowl run, they started.
We used the data from all last season. We're talking about Jake Browning offense.
Well, you're talking about Mac Jones offense then too.
Okay, I mean, is Jacoby Brissett that much better than Mac Jones at
20
this
to
point?
13? Cincinnati.
This is too many points. Period.
How many
This
points is it? What is it? 9.5?
I could see Circa being at 9 tomorrow, but either 8.5, 9, I don't care. I think this is at most a touchdown game, at most. And don't be surprised if New England has an opportunity to win this game. Watch.
I like it. I'm in. Like no Jamar Chase, no tight end of consequence, no Tyler Boyd. They have Yosevich, who we like, but Christian Gonzalez is going to be 1v1 with T. Higgins. It's a whole different backfield, whole new tackle situation.
Yep.
9.5. I mean, I like it. I think New England's going to have a competent defense, and a competent defense can limit Cincinnati in week 1. I don't think this is like, I think where your mind initially goes for a game like this is like, Cincinnati 40-10.
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think so.